Hello and welcome to the second in our series of techniques of the week, and this week we're looking at cutout animation. If you want to have a go yourself, all you will need are a pair of scissors, some card, a pencil. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is taping or marking out our working area. I'm working on a light box, and what this does mean is that all of the shapes that we're cutting out, I'm using black card, and they're going to appear very much as silhouettes. Now, cutout animation does not have to be based around silhouettes, but it's a nice stylistic choice. The next thing we're going to do is cut out some initial shapes to use in our cutout animation. And we're going to start by creating this circle and simply moving it around the frame. Every time we've got a new position for this shape, this simple circle or ball, we're going to be taking a frame on the computer, taking a quick snapshot. And all of these snapshots, all of these frames will eventually build up to produce your animation. Now, as we mentioned in the last technique of the week, there are 25 frames in a second. And remember, really important rule, the bigger the movements that you make in between the frames, the faster the movement will appear. Okay, so we've got this cutout shape, this cutout ball, but it's a cutout. We can't change it other than cutting sections off it. Now, because I want to use this ball later on in the animation for quite a majority of this action actually, we need to make sure that we don't start cutting into this shape. We want to add some extra squashed and stretched versions of this ball. And the reason we want to do that is because right now we're coming to the bottom of the frame and we want the ball to appear as if it's bouncing. And if it was a rubber ball, when it hit a surface, it would squash. When it took off again, to finish off a nice bouncing motion, it would stretch. So we need to add some extra shapes in. We need to replace this ball with a squashed shape. So what we're doing in effect is we are creating replacements. And as the bounce continues, you can see we'll use the squash and stretch replacement pieces to continue the animation, to add a little bit of movement so it's not so static, it's not so controlled. And the rest state of our squashy ball is just this circle that we've used previously. Now we want this ball to be a bit more interesting, so what I'm going to do, because I'm a character animator, I'm going to create a new character using the ball as the body, the main body of our character. A very quick, simple way of turning any shape into a character is to add eyes. Eyes are a really beneficial feature on the face and they can be very, very expressive. It's always nice to add in a blink when a character is turning its head or shifting its gaze. And blinks can be done in a number of different ways. You can either draw a line to indicate a closed eye and then draw the open eye normally. Or what you can do, and what we're doing here, is we're just going to take these nice round eyes that we've created away, out of the frame. When there's no eye there, for a frame, it'll appear as if the eye's actually closed rather than it's just disappeared. It won't look like it's just disappeared, it'll look like it's closed. We're also going to be adding in half eyelids. The reason we do this is to slow the blink down. A one frame blink absolutely has its uses, but it's pretty quick, and I want this character to appear a little bit more considered and a little bit less fretful. This means that we'll have an open eye, half eyelid, no eye, half eyelid, and open eye. So it'll take 5 frames to work through the entire blink cycle. Now, when you're working with cutout animation, you do have to remember that these shapes will move. That's a great thing when you're animating, but not a great thing if you sneeze. So, as I have got a cold today, I'm being very careful not to breathe on the animation that we're producing here today, because if I do sneeze, they'll go flying and I'll have to replace everything in approximately the right positions. One thing you can do to avoid too much movement on the shapes that you want to be fairly still or static is to add a little bit of blue tack or tacky wax. And our character is really simple. Essentially, he's just a nice round blob with a pair of eyes. And what I want him to feel is a little bit confused about these wings he's suddenly grown. Now, because our character is so simple, there is only a limited amount of changes you can make to your character. The only thing we can really move here are the eyes. The eyes can be really, really expressive. And the position of any facial features is really important for your character. I would encourage you to experiment, have a go. If something doesn't work, no problem, go back, try again. And here we have the final result. This is our cutout animation with our ball character. From start to finish, it took just under 40 minutes to produce, with a little bit of time afterwards popping it together on the computer. I hope you enjoyed this week's Technique of the Week cutout animation. Do send in any experiments you've made at home, or get in touch if you'd like some studio time and animation tuition.